Hello and welcome to Roman with the Rubes. This is Jo and I'm Lee, and in this video we're going to talk to you about a camping essential for those that like to go off-grid and need to be self-contained. The humble
Porta Potty. We're going to share with you our experiences, the good, the bad, the unmentionable. We're going to talk about setup, travelling, usage tips, emptying, cleaning and storage.
Jo, let's get to business.
I'll get the paperwork. Well folks, we have the Tetford Cube 165. It's got a 15 litre flush tank at the top, 20 litre storage tank at the bottom, and we've had this one for 6 years and have been away for hundreds of nights. So they wear very, very well.
We've found our chemical toilet to be an absolute game changer. It's very convenient when you're in an outback or free camp setting. This one, the seat is at a really good height and it's very comfortable to use. It is 100% odour free when the lid is closed.
So let's have a look at all the various components of the Tetford style porta potty. Top tank here, this holds 15 litres of flushing water, and that's the bottom tank, 20 litres of waste storage. Moving around to the top, here's the lid, and here's the seat. Quite a comfortable seat actually. And here's the really good thing about it, it is very easy to remove, so you can thoroughly clean them when you get home. Thoroughly clean the business end as well, if you know what I mean. So we'll pop that back on. And we'll move around the back here. This here is the filling tank for the flush tank, or the filling lid I should say, sorry about that. For the flush tank you can pop your water in there, and there's also a bowl sanitizer that you can add that sort of keeps the bowl nice and fresh. Nothing like having a fresh bowl, is there? Now, round here, this is the flushing pump. Our toilet has like a bellows pump. There are other models with actual piston pumps in there, but we find this works quite good. You just push that down 1 or 2 times to get rid of the unmentionables. Now, to separate the two tanks, there is a lever at the back here, and it's just a simple matter of pushing it across and then lifting the top tank off. So here's the business end of the system. There's a little handle at the front here. This is the actual tank valve. So when you pull this out, it gives the bowl access into the tank. You can see that there's a valve that slides across. When you're finished, you push it back. This rubber seals in there. It absolutely traps all the odours inside, so you don't have any problems with smell with the device. Next thing is the pouring spout. This just moves around to go into the pouring position. There is a fully sealed cap there, so it doesn't leak, quite sound. So yeah, pull that off, and then you go and pour it at the dump point there. I'm just going to push this back. This here is a venting valve. So when you're pouring, you push that in and it vents the top of the tank and allows a much better flow of waste into your dump point. Now to put it back, you'll see at the front here there's 2 little hooks. The top tank, making sure you've got the front of the toilet there, pops over here like that, and then it's just a simple matter of clicking it down. All together, ready to do another battle. And here's some of the chemicals available for your porta potty. You can get all of these at good camping stores. First up is the Tedford Aqua Rinse. This goes in your flush tank and it helps keep your bowl nice and fresh and helps prevent the crayon effect, if you know what I mean. Dosage is 50ml per 15 litres of water. Next up is Aquachem Blue. This is a holding tank chemical and it's available in normal or lavender scents. It dissolves all the waste, prevents odours and lasts up to 5 days. Dosage is 60 millilitres per 20 litres of water. I always pop a full dose in the bottom tank. There's also Aquachem Green. It's more environmentally friendly. Holding tank chemical. It lasts up to 4 days and the dosage is 70ml per 20 litres. You can also get the holding tank chemicals in convenient sachets, each sachet being a single dose for the bottom tank, and the packet contains 15 doses. Last in our list is Supercheap Auto's portable toilet chemical. It's fully biodegradable and formaldehyde free. The dosages last 3 to 4 days. One nice feature of this product is the bottle has a handy measuring spout built in. Dosage is 100ml for 15 litres. It's a little less expensive than other products, but the dosage is higher, so it probably works out around the same. So, we're off on a trip. What do we do to get our porta potty ready? I never fill the top tank. Simply, if you're driving over some rough roads or something, the lid on the flush tank doesn't have a seal. And if the water's all sloshing around everywhere, you might arrive and find that you've got water all over the floor of your camper, which isn't very nice. So only about half full. And generally speaking, you know, half full's probably more than enough for a couple to pop in the tank there, and you pop the chemicals accordingly. I also put a litre of water in the holding tank. That's what they recommend for this holding tank chemical. We're using the Supercheap one. It works really, really well, but we also do use the Tedford one from time to time. But they recommend have a litre of water in the bottom. That gives the chemical something to activate against. Then when we get to our destination, I add the chemicals in. There's a really nice rinse aid that you can pop in the top tank. It keeps the bowl looking nice and fresh and sparkling, or so it says on the bottle. And I recommend it. I think it's a good thing to have. Then in the holding tank, we put this rather strong chemical which dissolves all the solids and toilet paper and everything. Now, adding this chemical, there are some precautions you need to follow. It's quite aggressive, the chemical, and in the top of your, in the opening of your toilet, there's a rubber seal. Now, it's recommended that you don't get this chemical on your rubber seal. It is corrosive and it'll reduce the life of the seal. 2 ways to do it. One way that I use is I have a little measuring cup with a spout, and I can quite easily pour it in the centre without any risk of hitting the seal. The other way is to remove the top tank when you get there. Open up the pouring spout and add your chemical that way. There's no risk of the chemical going directly onto the seal. It's when it's at full concentration that it's a problem. Once it's been diluted in the tank, it's not so bad, but just first up, 100%, not a real good thing. Well, folks, the time has come to talk about some usage points here, but don't worry, we're not going to demonstrate anything here.
Gosh, no,
not at all. But first point I want to raise is the chemical for the bottom tank. This is the one that does all that great work of dissolving the solids and the toilet paper and everything, and it's viable basically around 4 to 5 days. You don't want to leave it much longer than that. In fact, you don't want to leave it longer than that because it stops working. It's not breaking anything down. It doesn't kill the bacteria, and you end up with a gas buildup in the bottom tank, which has some consequences which we'll talk about later. So empty your porta potty, probably around the 3 to 4 day mark, and definitely before the tank is too full, especially if you're heading away over some rough roads. Nothing worse than driving along with a full bottom tank in a porta potty, having everything shaken up, but it could lead to some very unpleasant results in your camper. So that's number one. Tip number two, this is particularly true when your top tank is full. We had an incident where we were experiencing some water on the floor of our camper. I actually thought it was this pump on the side here leaking, had a crack in the bellows, and as we pushed it, the water was coming out because it seemed to coincide with the water. But here's what we found. Nothing wrong with the bellows pump. It was fine. However, what we noticed, I get a little bit overzealous when I pump this toilet, and when you pump it, I'm lifting the seat up for clarity so you can see what happens. Lee, you might like to come around and sort of show that water spout there. Mm-hmm. Okay, can you see it all there? Okay, if we do an enthusiastic flush, you can see what happens there. The water goes everywhere. When we pop the lid down, I'm just going to wipe that up a bit. When you pop the lid down, do the same thing.
Oh, it's still spilling out a little.
You can see it all spilling out there, and this is what you've got underneath. So it's just something to be aware of, that when your tank is full, just sort of don't be too enthusiastic with the pump there. You might end up with some water on the outside. It puzzled us for days. Mm-hmm. So hopefully this will save you a little bit of angst. Now, the next one. I'm speaking from personal experience here, and I'm hoping to save you the bother of what happened to me.
Oh yeah.
Very warm summertime. I think we're around the 4-day mark with the chemical in the toilet. And I actually used to sort of take notice that people said the best thing you can do with your porta potty is to put a couple of flushes of water in the bottom of the tank, in the bottom of the seat, to act as something to catch the load, so to speak. So I went and did this. I put a couple of pumps of water in there. Then I grabbed this valve, and being a bloke, we never do anything in a subtle manner, do we? I pulled that valve open. I was standing over the top of it. Now, it wasn't a really pleasant experience because all that pent-up gas blew up through all that water, and I got a spray all over my face. You don't want that to happen. Fortunately, I think it was maybe 80% clean water and knows what else. But it wasn't nice. And then I thought with horror, what would happen if you did that and you were sitting on the seat? Oh. Could you imagine it? Wouldn't be nice at all. So empty your tank as soon as you can. Don't put water in there. We find that the vent here, the valve, is very, very capable of catching whatever happens, and all will be well. So you really don't need to put water in the bottom of it there. Open it up and with confidence, do what you have to do, flush it, close it up, and you'll be sweet. All good.
And open it slowly, Joe, not with gusto.
Well, this is true. Don't be in a hurry. Take it slow. Don't stand over the thing. Yes. It's a little bit of a nuisance. But anyway, there's 2 horror shows that we hope to save you having to worry about.
And one last point. The job is not complete until the paperwork's done. So with regards to your toilet paper, we just use regular toilet paper, never ever had a problem with it. If you do prefer, you can go to any good camping store and get toilet paper that is made specially for use with chemical toilets, but we've just found we've never needed it.
So we're on our way to the dump point. Look, you've got to be really considerate where you empty your chemical toilet. You should never empty it in, public toilets and alike. A lot of them are on septic systems, and the chemicals do harm to septic tanks. Should always use a designated dump point. They're set up to handle the chemicals and the like. In the unusual event that you can't find a dump point, probably the best way to take care of it is to dig quite a deep hole. We're talking 900 mil to a metre deep.
It's deep.
It's deep. Pour it into that and cover it up. Make sure that hole's nowhere near any trees, cattle drinking areas, water courses, creeks. You don't want those chemicals to actually end up in the waterways at all. So out in the open, and it should be okay. Things will eventually break down.
Yeah.
So how do you find dump points, Lee? What do we do?
Okay, well, I usually look ahead on Wikicamps. Wikicamps is a great source of all of that sort of information. You can even read there what sort of condition the dump point is in, and if it's been closed for whatever reason, there'll often be a comment there. So that's a great tip. Also, if you're traveling through a town, the visitor information centres, they'll give you that information as well. And caravan parks have them. Also, most towns have a public dump point, don't they, Joe? And generally they're in really good condition, aren't they?
They are. It's a credit to local councils and that. The Caravanning Association too. They actually provide a lot of dump points for travellers too.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse not to take care of your waste properly. Anyway, not long till we get to the dump point. So here we are at the dump point. This isn't your typical one actually. This one's up fairly high. I'm pretty sure it has like a storage tank or something underneath. I don't know. I'm only guessing. But they're pretty simple. You've got this big sealed lid. You lift it up and you pour your waste in there. There's a hose here for rinsing. Like I said, sometimes the hose is missing, and so it's a good idea to bring it with you. Anyway, hey,
Yay!
So let's open her up. Now folks, there's nothing in our porta potty tank except clean water. So this is only just for demonstration purposes.
You get the easy turn.
I don't know about that. So here we are. I'm going to put the spout down and I'm going to give you a little warning. Oh, just set it up here and rest it. That vent button needs to be higher than the level of fluid in your porta potty. So when you're holding it, you really need to hold it up like that. Because if you're too low, I'm going to show you what happens. It's not a good look. Oh, it's a bit awkward. But if we go too low, see what happens?
Oh, yes.
And it won't be water coming out of that vent, folks. So just be mindful that you're tipping it right up.
Gross.
Okay. So let's go. I'll undo this. Pop the lid in a convenient spot. Lift her up. And it's just a simple matter of tipping it over and in you go. Now, if I hold it up and push the vent, see how much quicker the fluid comes out?
Oh, yeah. This is a nice clean dump point too.
It is a nice clean dump point. So it's as simple as that. When you finish though, I recommend you do the first part of the cleaning process here. Always give your tank a good rinse out. This hose has seen better days, hasn't it? Okay, I'm going to just pop a bit of water in there. Very much seen better days. I'll put the lid back on. I'm closing it up. I'm going to give it a very good shake. like that. Then we're going to empty it again. And you should keep doing that until it's all nice and clean. So you have a look in your tank. Yeah, that's fine. I find it's probably 2-3 times I have to do that. Pop your lid back on and you're good to go. Now, just part of dump point etiquette, always make sure that you leave it as clean as possible. So give everything a rinse out. Make sure there's no menu items left in the tank there. Nice and clean, and it's ready for the next person to come and do what they have to do.
Beautiful.
So that's emptying your porta potty at a dump point. So make sure you've got some nice, strong antibacterial hand sanitizer, or wear gloves. I haven't worn gloves, but yeah, make sure you clean your hands. So let's get this porta potty ready to store away. First up, we just have a look inside the bottom tank. Open that sliding valve up and have a good look. Make sure it's spotlessly clean in there. If not, continue rinsing till it is. After that, we'll lift the seat and lid off the top tank, and we'll give the bowl a really good wipe out with either a antibacterial cloth or some disinfectant and water. Once finished, we'll give the seat and lid a good wipe over as well and reattach it. Now, we'll separate the top and bottom tank. We'll clean the bottom of the top tank as we did with the bowl. Give it a good wipe with some disinfectant. Do the same thing with the top of the bottom tank and basically give all the surfaces a clean. Then what we'll do is we'll grab about a litre of water and a small dose of disinfectant, pour it into that bottom tank and give it a really good shake. The idea is to get all the surfaces in the tank covered with the disinfectant. Then we'll let it sit for about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we'll give it another really good shake and let it sit for 10 more minutes. Then empty the liquid, open the top valve, let's leave it out in the sun to dry. After that, close her up, pack her away.
Well, we hope you've gotten some benefit from this video, particularly those of you who are starting out your career camping off-grid.
And I hope my warnings regarding the unmentionable things that can happen to you with your porta potty have helped you avoid those incidents.
I'll be watching all those warnings again because Joe's assured me that next time we go camping, it is my job to empty the porta potty at the dump point. So look out for that one. If you've really enjoyed this video, please give us a like, consider subscribing to our channel. We really appreciate you watching and we'll see you next time. Bye.
See you, folks.